Well, thank you all for coming tonight. I'm so glad you're here because we get to talk about a subject that, for me, is one of my favorite topics. Challenges for a lot of my patients, you would probably just as soon not have to have this conversation because the idea and the topic of arthritis is not one that we want to have. Okay. Although I will say my experience has been it's a very discouraging thing. If you talk to your medical doctor about arthritis, you know what? Just about everything that has gone wrong in people's bodies, especially if you're, let's say you're the age 45 years or older and you're having an ache and a pain or something like that, and you ask your doctor about it, one of the easiest and the quickest responses is to say, well, you're probably developing some arthritis. As if that you're getting older, you're starting to fall apart, and that's to be expected, and it's a normal part of life, and on, and nothing really goes there, nothing happens about that. They might have a conversation with you about maybe a different medicine or those sorts of things. So tonight, we're going to talk about arthritis, and I want to have a different perspective. And I want you to leave today with the concept that arthritis is reversible, all right? That it is treatable, it is preventable. All right, are you seeing these things? Have you ever heard about this? And so we're going to learn the facts tonight. And this is something that I hope when you leave today, you're going to go, oh my goodness, this totally changed the way I think about arthritis here. Now, one of the first things, though, that I want to say, and we're going to talk a lot about things like nutrition and some things of that nature, but I want you to understand like a hierarchy, that the most important thing is not whether you're eating vitamin E or you're doing the chondroitin sulfate or those types of things, okay? That is not the most important thing. But it is truly important, and we cannot have a conversation. If you have arthritis and you have not dealt with the foods that you're eating, the supplements you're taking, and things like that, you're missing a really pivotal and important part. However, it's not as important as whether you have the appropriate amount of water in your system. So one of the things you've noticed is I've got water here for the meal tonight, right? We have to intentionally drink more and more water. We do not drink enough water, and we drink too much pop. We drink things that are bad for us. We have to decide that we're going to drink more water, hydrate our bodies, because if you've got any arthritic process that's going on in your body, and if you are not drinking water, you're missing a bit. Just something as simple as drinking water will help your arthritis, right? And you start to realize, hey, wait a minute, I need to start doing that better. Higher up, and even more essential, though, is that of oxygen. And I will say, in our society, I think people are stressed out. We are not breathing well. And if we're going to talk about getting healthy, we have to address that. So I want, each one of us, even as we're eating tonight, make sure that you are relaxed. Make sure that you chew your food wonderfully. Don't eat it too fast, right? Chew it, enjoy the flavors. Breathe deeply. Enjoy this experience together. Like Cheryl was saying, we have a glorious group of patients here. I look forward to come and spend time with each one of you, right? I mean, this is, you guys think you're coming in for me to get you well or to help you get well, right? And that is true. But also, we're here to spend some time, share our souls, right? That I will care. And if you're not getting well, it will matter to me. These are intangible things. And if you cry, or you see another patient crying, if you will go up and put your hug around them, and, that will help them heal. And if you're crying, someone else will come up to you and they'll hug you and let you know it's okay and they're thinking about you, maybe praying for you. And this is how we create a community of healing. It's intentional. We have to commit to each other that this is going to be important. But we do need to breathe and be relaxed and oxygenate our body. The final thing, probably the most essential, is nerve flow. And when we talk about arthritis, I haven't heard a single medical doctor even bringing this up as if that's important for you if you have arthritis. Tonight, I want you to understand the link between nerve flow and the problem with arthritis, and understand that especially when it comes to your spine. If you have an issue of arthritis in your spine, there is a great tie-in between nerve flow, and those two things can affect each other. All right, so we'll be talking about that more tonight. Now, what are the types of arthritis that we're going to deal with? So, the most prevalent is this type of arthritis. Who can say that? This is degenerative arthritis or osteoarthritis. Have you ever heard those words? Okay. So, and this is 50% of all arthritis is this kind. The good news for you, since you're sitting in a chiropractic office, it's half of all arthritis is this kind, and this is the kind that responds best to chiropractic care. All right? So that's good. Good news on several fronts. other types of arthritis, and so if you're talking to doctors or reading articles, maybe you go on the internet and you're reading about arthritis. Now these are the ones that scare people. So I would, in some ways I encourage people to go look on the internet to kind of do some research, but another way, sometimes it can cause real concerns that you kind of can blow things out in your mind, blow things out of proportion. So you do want to be careful. These are some things. So inflammatory arthritis these are the rheumatoid, lupus, ankylosing spondylitis. Well, rheumatoid arthritis is maybe 30%. Now, rheumatoid is, if there is an arthritis, it's kind of the scary kind. These sorts of things where it actually takes and mangles and deforms your hand, and these are the ones that put people in the wheelchair. So I think when people think about arthritis, a lot of times that's what they're afraid about. And I would say that's really not, in the typical practice, and especially in our practice. Now, we do have some rheumatoid patients, but you know what? You probably wouldn't realize or recognize who they are. Most of the time, even though someone has this inflammatory type of arthritis, with chiropractic care, we can actually help their level of function improve dramatically. And in fact, I have some cases where I'm starting to wonder if maybe they shouldn't even be defined by that anymore. Because in medicine, they like to figure things out and put people in a box, right? Like if we have diabetes, then you are going to be a diabetic really for the rest of your life, right? That sort of thing. If you have arthritis, the doctors, it's almost like they stop trying because they've labeled you, and now, well, that's the explanation for anything that goes wrong. And what I'm finding, I'm going, well, wait a minute. What if, let's say you have rheumatoid arthritis, you might have degenerative arthritis too, in the same body. But what happens in medicine is because if you have this thing that they consider to be worse, everything is attributed to that thing that's bad. And it makes people stop trying. So if you're finding yourself in a discouraged place right now about arthritis or things like that, understand, we want to keep thinking about this because it's really important. Now, gout is a metabolic form of arthritis. So are you starting to see we've got degenerative? Now I'm going to spend probably more of my talk tonight on the degenerative, this post-traumatic, this type of thing. That's this degenerative or osteoarthritis. That's what most people have who have arthritis. Some of these other things, if you have those, you're probably doing some research on them, and tonight's class probably isn't going to focus a lot on those types of ones, but we're still going to talk about some things in general that will be helpful for you. All right. So inflammatory and metabolic arthritis. So this is inflammatory, so you have painful soft tissue swelling of joints, symmetrical small joint movement. So these would be the little joints of the hands that are all about the same, these sorts of things. The small ones, the little ones, those tend to be the ones that are affected. The metabolic, now this is, and when we talk about gout here, this is a special bird. This is a arthritis that they call the disease of kings. And this is because, in general, if your diet tends to be a little bit more towards rich foods, so this would be if you drink a lot of wine, eat a lot of cheeses, eat a lot of meats, those sorts of things, you can actually get some uric acid in your body, and what ends up happening a lot of times is your big toe. So you'll find, I can't walk, well, why? Well, right there, and it's almost like someone stabbing you and it gets swollen up. So this is how you end up being diagnosed with gout. Now, there are some other consequences in your body as well, but like I said, we're not gonna.
Gout is just another form of arthritis.
It is a form of arthritis, and this is a form. It's a metabolic, and we call it as a metabolic arthritis because there is something in your body. Your kidneys aren't clearing out this uric acid, so that means the uric acid then crystallizes, and these crystals form in the joint, and especially the big toe. Why the big toe? I don't know. I don't know that anybody knows why. But that seems to be the joint that's affected the most. Now, it can affect your back and things like that.
Maybe because it's gravity.
Could be gravity. It could be, but
pulls everything down.
But here's the problem is.
The path of least resistance.
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, that's people have wondered that, but there isn't a definitive answer as to why it happens to be that way. So we're going to spend most of our time talking about arthritis here. And one of the things that's crucial, arthritis, and this would be the osteoarthritis. And the reason I'm going to talk about that is, it's mostly what I see. In the neck, you're supposed to have a beautiful flowing curve like this. And what we find are the clusters of arthritis in the areas what we call subluxation. So where your spine is out of its alignment, the neck is propelled forward, there's a kink in the spine, something happens. If over the years that's not corrected, that there's abnormal pressure, compression on that area, the body then adapts and responds by dumping calcium into the joint space itself.